Hey my bros, welcome to Movin' with Mac. So I'm not really sure how to start this video or anything. I'm kind of just hoping it goes all down in one go, but I just wanted to kind of share my mission and my purpose for starting this fitness platform. So back in March of 2023, I kind of had the idea of starting some type of like fitness brand of some sort, but I was kind of hesitant because I was like, I don't really know how that would work. And then with being in school and stuff, like I was just making a lot of excuses. But I had a lot of time to think during that time because unfortunately I was injured with my third stress reaction in my femur. So I just had a lot of time to think and kind of brainstorm things. So kind of want to backtrack a little bit and like go into my story, and then that leads into like kind of my mission and then the purpose of creating this fitness platform. So, or like wellness platform too. But so let me think. Back in middle school church camp, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade. I went to Camp Pondo in California, and there was a night where we were saying our testimonies, but I had lost my voice, so I couldn't speak. And so I had told one of my friends, like I'd whispered to her like what my testimony would be, and basically it was like that, like life is just good, like I haven't really had any problems, and like God's always been there for me, and like I'm looking forward to strengthening my relationship with him. But flash forward now to 2024, I've had some like not major problems, but I think middle school Mac would be surprised of how far I've come since then. So since then, let's see, one major thing that had happened was that I'd gone away from home for college, so I went to Oxford, Mississippi to go to Ole Miss. Toddy. But there, like, obviously we started in 2020 that fall, and so with COVID we didn't have a lot of like in-person classes or anything, and so I kind of felt a little bit more homesick because I didn't really get to meet a lot of people at that point. And so I was kind of working through that and praying to God, like, is this where I should be or should I be somewhere else? But I ended up staying that following spring semester, and I ended up having a really good track season, and things academically started to click as well. So I was really excited that I ended up staying there. And then thinking that following fall of 2021, my parents told my brother and I that they were going to go through a separation, which was a big surprise for our family because I feel like you grow up seeing your parents together, and at that point we were already in college, so both my brother and I were really shocked. And so just navigating that on top of college and everything, I had used running as an outlet because I didn't really know where else to go to at that point, and at that point my relationship with God wasn't as strong as it is now. So I was running a lot and kind of using that as my outlet, like I had said. And then unfortunately that November I found out that I had my first stress reaction in my femur, and so I couldn't run. I was stuck on the bike and cross training, and I think during that time I had first kind of just started really getting into music, and understanding like the verses instead of just beats, because like it's like some beats are good, but getting to know like the meaning behind the songs too is cool too. But then that following spring and then into the summer, I'd kind of gotten more invested in my faith, and then as well as that following fall as well of defining myself outside of my sport and who I am and my family as well, and instead as a child of God. And that had brought me a lot of peace through my injuries, because then little did I know, but to follow, I ended up having a stress reaction in the other femur that following spring, and then that took a while to heal. And then that following fall I had another one in my original femur, and so it was just a lot mentally to go through, I guess, in that sense, because you obviously go to school as a collegiate athlete in the hopes that you'll be able to compete and represent your school and perform the best that you can. But I just felt like I'd let a lot of people down because especially my teammates, because I was hoping I'd be able to perform at a higher level for them. So with that I was just really bummed, but I was focusing on academics as well, and also building relationships at school through clubs and everything and getting more involved. So there's definitely a bright side that came from it, and I don't think I'd be sitting here today with this message, I guess, if I hadn't gone through those injuries. And so with that, I think I ended up having 3 or 4 stress reactions total in both my femurs. And at this point, like I was like, I'd met with multiple nutritionists, gotten a lot of blood work, hormones done. Like, we couldn't figure out what was really the cause of all of it, because I wasn't really overtraining. I wasn't doing a ton of mileage. And so then when I had another scare for a stress reaction, I guess it was the spring of 2023. Yeah, when I was still recovering a little bit that summer. So last summer, I ended up trying to do more research into what possibly it could be going on. And so I found out that it could be something that's joint related or autoimmune related. And so I ended up getting blood work done in California, which is where I'm from. Yeah. And from there, they had said that I had markers for an autoimmune disease, but they weren't sure which one. And so then I had to get more blood work. I was like, I feel like I'm getting sucked by a vampire at this point. But then that blood work had indicated, and my MRIs that I had on my hips, that I had AS, which is ankylosing spondylitis. I know how to say it now. But basically how it works is that you have systemic inflammation, but especially stemming from your spine and your sacrum. And because your body kind of attacks itself, and so it just has a lot of inflammation in those joints. And so with my running and competing on top of that, that's what had probably caused those numerous stress-related injuries, unfortunately. But I was definitely glad to finally have answers, because I'd been praying for it for a while, of just like, why does this keep happening? Like, I feel like I'm trying to do everything right. And so just to have kind of an official diagnosis was really comforting. And so I found that out last summer, and then when I came back to Oxford this past fall, I met with another rheumatologist, and they had confirmed that diagnosis as well. And so with AS, there's no necessarily cure for it, but you can do treatment. And so I was kind of looking things up, on Reddit, of course, because I was like, AS, and then they had said that one of the treatments was Humira, and I was like, isn't that like what you see on line, where it's like, with Humira, remission is possible? I was like, I'm like 21 years old, like I need to get on that. But so there was like a couple months where I was weighing pros and cons, because I wanted to see if the costs or the benefits of that treatment would outweigh the costs or long-term effects. But one of the main things that I learned about Humira is that even if I don't notice a difference physically, that long-term it's preventing my spine from fusing together, which is crucial. So I decided to get on that back in October, and since then I've been doing the treatment for it twice every month, so every other week. And I feel like things have been feeling good. Like, I was never really in pain before, but now I'm able to run just for fun, a few days a week. And I have some running goals that are in the making, whether that's, I think, maybe 5K in the future, or progressing up to a half marathon, because some of my friends are trying to convince me. But we'll kind of see. So that's exciting in that sense. But I feel like with all of this too, what I learned with AS, or my condition, is that exercise is medicine, which is the main thing I also learned through my degree at Ole Miss, which was in exercise science, and then I got an undergrad in recreational therapy. And so with that, I try to move as much as I can, because being sedentary actually makes your condition worse. And so the dose response effect with Humira on top of the movement is really good. And so then I started thinking about I don't know if anyone else is kind of going through this, or if there's just kind of a missing platform in the sense that uses faith to inspire people to move their bodies in ways that they enjoy, but also that magnifies God's name at the end of the day too. And so that's kind of where I came up with my idea of movin with Mac. All of the letters are lowercase, because at the end of the day, we're trying not to highlight or focus on us, but more or less capitalize and emphasize God at the end of the day. And so with that, this is one of my initial drawings. It's in my notebook that I take to church and stuff, but I don't know if you can see this, but it's kind of my outline. So moving it with Mac is kind of in the center, and then it branches off to other things. I was thinking from there doing mindfulness, or even music, and then making, so crafts or DIY, meals, because gotta fuel the body, messages, whether that's with podcasts or potential scriptures, maps, I said, because it starts with an M, but places or visiting different places, and then materials clothing or kind of fashion, which I got really big into in middle school, and then the last one is mane, a horse's mane, but for hair, because I love braiding and doing stuff like that, so I thought it'd be fun to share those things. And so with that, I think that's primarily what I wanted to like touch on. I'm excited for what all this can expand into, but other than that, let's go. Woohoo! Thanks guys for watching.